saying I have to do the intros. So hi, I'm Jeff. We're playing Delta Green here on Garblag Games tonight. That's the entirety that I had planned. So have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Cheers.
Yep. So yeah, we're playing Delta Green. Matt's been running us through all sorts of different games. It only felt right to return the favor. Delta Green is one of my favorite games. It's new to me. I've been playing it for like 6 months now, 7 months, something like that, and I absolutely love it. And so, who better to like drain sanity from and horrify people than the very people we play other games with? So let's start this way. Let's just do our usual intro. Say who you are, say who your character is, that kind of stuff. We'll do like an in-character intro in a moment, but like for now, let's just who is everybody? Tell us what you rolled. This is a modern day game. Year is 2016. We are all secret agents, so to speak, of various other agencies. So who are you? What is like your specialty? That kind of thing. And anything else you feel like sharing about your character, motivations, history, that kind of stuff. So we're just going to go by the overlay, which means Maddie. Maddie Two Arms is up.
Maddie Two Arms is up first. I'm playing Jason Rutledge, who is a DEA agent. He's a bit of a cowboy. He's got a hardcore small man complex going on. He's a little smaller than everybody else, but he's a talker. He's a looker. He's a talker. All right. He makes up for it with his overconfidence and ego. What else do you want to know about him? What else do you want to know about him, Jeff?
Whatever you feel like. So he's a federal agent, right?
He's a federal agent, DEA.
Specifically DEA? Okay. Yeah. So what does he do at the DEA? Like what is you said he's a talker and stuff. So is there anything in particular he does?
That is a great question. He's an agent. He's in the operations division, so he is a operations agent, the backbone of the DEA. So he's out there. He's out there making arrests.
Okay.
He's doing investigations.
He's out in the field. Okay.
He's out in the field.
Right.
He's working with local law enforcement, or basically kicking them off the scene, when it becomes DEA business. So he's not well liked by some other groups. He has actually some other organizations that don't like him, and he needs to stay one step ahead of. But we're not going to get into that now. We'll get into that in the game.
Sure. And then I guess the other question is like motivation. So in this game, characters are driven by motivations too. I mean, like you guys are facing off against essentially the end of the world, crazy monsters, aliens, all sorts of different things. So there's got to be something that drives your character to do these things. They are a mechanical device. So like not only are they there for flavor to help kind of get your character to be rounded, but like they do have a mechanical benefit. So if you play very strongly to them, at times it allows you to recover some willpower, which could help you with sanity loss and disorders and things like that. So like what's one or two interesting motivations your character might have?
Okay, well, he likes to solve hard problems. So he doesn't like to back down. Even when things are looking rough, he won't back down.
That's a shame.
That is a shame in this game.
I know who's going down first. That's good enough. That's good enough for now. Also, there's others too.
He's got a whole bunch of them.
Mm-hmm. And he's green too.
Yeah, he is green. He wants to protect his ex-wife from harm. That's another one. Who's one of his bonds?
Okay. Wow,
that's a tough one. Yeah, he's still in love. He's still in love with her.
What's old Maddie Two Arms' ex-wife's name?
Mary.
She's so dead.
She
Mary
is so dead.
Two Arms.
I'm gonna lose my bond. She's my number one bond. I'm gonna lose her. Just making a note now.
Okie dokie. I mean, no reason. I was just checking to make sure I had my pen had ink. That's all. Okay, let's keep it going. Megan, you're up next. I think you're the only one with a well, I don't know. Evan might have a PhD, but I know you have a PhD. Who are you playing?
I'm playing Dr. Lucy Rowley. She works for the CDC, but right out of university, the U.S. Army was like, "Hey, we could use your like pharmaceutical knowledge in southern France." So they sent me down there. I ended up being, I did a hack job in interrogation and whatnot, and messed some people up. Came back and just wasn't right. Went to go see my therapist Roland, who is my number one bond. And and he made the suggestion to help me make some more positive connections to join the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. So I got myself a little sister, Charlotte. She's I can't let her down. I visualize her as, like a little Lucy, and don't want her to be led astray like I was.
Okay. All
Hope
right.
she
And
makes
Reese,
it, Charlotte.
sure.
She's so
Sure.
dead also.
Either well, it might be that, or it might be one of the other ways bonds break is just you treat them so poorly they just ditch you. Then they're like, we're done with you. Like, I just can't deal with you. You're terrible. So a lot of people like to equate this to like True Detectives. You ever watch True Detective? The kind of way in which all of the horrors and the stress of the job kind of wore down people's careers. You see them later on in life; they have nobody, and they're just drinking alone in a trailer somewhere, talking about the King in Yellow. So, okay. All right, so I've got 2 targets for Megan. Excellent. Okay. So, and also green. I think we have, so both of you this is like your first real Delta Green op. So it's like you've never seen this kind of stuff before. You're not a damage veteran. You don't know what you're getting into. You just think this is just some other special black ops organization in the government that's out to do something. That's it. Don't know that aliens exist, or that that Cthulhu's real. And none of that kind of stuff is on your plate yet. Let's keep it going. And we've got Aaron. Aaron, who are you playing?
So I am playing Master Sergeant Deacon Stone. He's a 16 years Army vet. Came up in the Spec Ops community. He's tabbed out. SF, Ranger, Airborne, Air Assault, Pathfinder, specializing in human intelligence collection, and is currently assigned to the Army Intelligence Support Activity. And to him, this, as far as he knows, he's just getting sliced to another federal agency to do some kind of off the books black work, which he's been doing for about the past 4 or 5 years. He's spent a lot of time in Iraq, a lot of time in Afghanistan, a lot of time doing combat missions in places nobody's ever heard of and never will hear of. And he keeps it together barely with the help of his only bond. His only bond is an Army chaplain. Pull up my contacts here. Annie Saunders is an Army chaplain who befriended him in his first tour in Afghanistan. And she worked in the enemy prisoner of war camps, and he was running interrogations there. And he started confiding in her. And then when he got reassigned back to the East Coast in the US, she also showed up there. He's not aware that she has a bit of a crush on him. And he's not aware that she requested orders transferring her out to Virginia to follow him. But he was very pleasantly surprised when she showed up. She is really his only confidant. He has other friends in the teams, but nobody that he really relies on for the real truth.
Okay. All right. One bond.
Okay.
Excellent.
That was it.
What's the bond score? What kind of bond score you got for that one bond?
It's 11, I think.
What is a good number?
Teens. 11's okay. If you're in the single digits, things aren't looking good.
All right, not looking good for me.
Yeah,
they're based. Yeah, the default score when you start is based on your charisma. So you have low charisma. That's why.
17 across the board here, baby.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, you're gonna live forever. Matt's gonna live forever. His bonds.
I'm gonna lose my arms
not.
though, but I'll live forever.
Yeah. That's fine. And it's ain't alien, so you're not gonna run into a random synthetics factory. Okay. Let's keep it going. Who's next? We got Evan. Evan, who are you playing?
I'm playing Jay Renfro, known as Ryder. Jay is a computer scientist for the FBI. He went undercover for quite some time in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was part of a cult called the Fourth Eye, and him and one of his bonds, Kylie Nugent, also was undercover. And their job was to gather information and, figure out what was going on. But unfortunately, they apparently summoned things into existence. And what happened in Albuquerque became much bigger than anticipated. And he got some whiplash and repercussion for that. But I imagine this guy is like a tall, kind of like he belongs in like, what's the movie or the show with Angels and Anarchy. What's the ones with the motorcycle people?
Sons
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, he belongs in that show. Like he
Okay.
has he's not super huge muscular wise, but he has tattoos of old 90s tattoos, just colorful, and did you see some eyes randomly because he's trying to fit in with the Colts, but he has like a jean jacket and a big handlebar, kind of salt and pepper mustache. Some of his motivations, which probably why he got in trouble, is protecting the FBI from unwelcome truths. So he probably hid some of the information that he actually experienced. And he's also a conspiracy theorist, apparently. So, he's always thinking
in the right place, really.
Right. He always thinks this is the next thing.
Okay.
And then his other contact is another therapist, just like Megan's character, who basically, with his job being, a computer scientist, sometimes you see some things and experience some things, and you don't always have a release. So that's kind of his place to talk about some of the things that he's not allowed to normally.
Yeah. Okay. I have a very clear vision of what your character looks like right now. It's very good. I like it. Very good. Okay. And then last but not least, our goodest person, we have Jeremy. Jeremy, who you playing?
Well, I got the good fortune of playing a legacy character of sorts. I'm playing Llewellyn Forrester, who's from Tales from the Flood. He broke into a military complex when he was only 17.
Yeah, he did.
And got sent to
Did
juvie.
you punch a robot dog and
I template doomed a robot dog's heart.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
But he turned himself in afterwards. He's trying to do what was right, and then right after that, he enlisted. That's the end of that campaign. Is Llewellyn just enlisted into the army right after that?
Yep.
Now
that was 1992.
Many years later, he kind of got fast tracked into doing missions with weird stuff. When asked to give a real fake name, because at first he wanted codename Roadrunner, because that's what his old muscle car was. And they told him he needed a real fake name. So he said, fine, Rex Dart. So that's what he goes by, because he's not the brightest of the group, but he is the biggest of the group. He's a big old beefcake of a man.
Big dude.
He's basically a damaged combat veteran, spec ops. He's mostly there to make sure that the people with big brains do the things they need to do. But he's actually a pretty pleasant individual. His primary motivations are getting the job done and maintaining his personal integrity.
There you go.
He only has one contact that still really stays in touch with him, and that's his twin sister, Allison.
Yo, poor Allison.
Poor
Allison.
Okay. All right. I told Jeremy, because in our other game, Things in the Flood, he did a Dukes of Hazzard style jump with his car. So I said, every city you go to in our game in Delta Green will have an unfinished highway overpass, just in case, just to tempt you.
I did make sure to put my bonus points into driving.
Fantastic. Okay. So Delta Green, let's get started. So we're going to dive in, do a little. So in Delta Green, there's things called home scenes. We're not really doing home scenes because they're usually what happened between operations. There's mechanical things to them. We're not going to dive into that. But one of the things that home scenes allow you to do is they kind of get your bonds out on the screen and you get to interact with them and do stuff. And I like doing that. So here's how this is going to work. Imagine for a moment, I like to do this whole theatric stuff, right? So black screen comes up, says October 2nd, 1996. It's the full black screen. Comes out of that black screen, and old Matty Two Arms. Where would you say on a Sunday afternoon, where would you say Rutledge is, and what is he doing? This is his normal life. It's what is he doing on a Sunday afternoon? Off duty.
Sunday afternoon.
Everyone's going to get the exact same question. So
yeah.
Prep for that.
1996 or 2016?
2016. Sorry. Yeah, we started a different game in a different year, but 2016 right now. Excuse me.
So he's real cocky. He's really overconfident.
Mm-hmm.
But he's very insecure due to his size, things like that. And one of his biggest things is his ex-wife, and it's still broken up. So I'm gonna say maybe he's out one of his motivations is new romance. Maybe he's out like speed dating or something like that.
Okay. So we're at what clearly I think I don't know what we're gonna do, like a community center or a bar. Let's make it a bar. Let's do a bar. We're at a Chili's. It's 6:30 or something on Sunday. What city are we in? Where is Rutledge?
Ooh.
Skankles. Gosh darn it,
Uh
doesn't matter. It could be anywhere. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What city do you think Rutledge is from? Okay, Flagstaff. Okay, so we're in a Chili's in Flagstaff, 2016. It's like 6:00 in the afternoon. You've been going through and you've been having date after date, these little 2 to 5 minute conversations. Like there's something about you that like is rubbing all of these women the wrong way. Something about your look, maybe that lack of confidence is whatever it is. But you finally, at the very, very end, the last meeting before that last gong goes off and they collect everything, you just click with somebody, absolutely click. And before, like they go around, they collect all little questionnaires and things, and like the organizers tabulating pairs and partners and stuff. And they come back like right to your table, and you two have been talking this whole time. And she looks down at you and like, well, this is perfect. You guys both match up. You're both, you both ranked yourselves super high. And right as the organizer puts the scores down the table, you're looking at this one woman who you can move on from Mary. You feel your phone vibrate in your pocket, not your normal phone, the phone you were given when you were agreed to be part of some new kind of special ops, when your supervisor at the DEA kind of brought you in and said, hey, we got this new thing we might want to include you in. And right as that happens, you look at it and it says activation. It gives you an address. It says 0800 and it says October 3rd, and it has flight details for you, and your flight's leaving within the next 2.5 hours. So you're sitting there, you've got your date in front of you. They're looking at you, got some sort of random music on. How do you handle extracting yourself from this situation?
He looks down at his phone and he's kind of like cringes, puts it away. He looks at her, he goes, hey babe, it was fun. Popper's on me. I gotta go. More business. What? Tosses her his number and just gets up and walks out.
And you hear as you're walking away, you're a son of a bitch. As the door opens,
puts on his sunglasses and walks outside, doesn't look back.
In 6:30 at night in October in Flagstaff, so it's kind of dark, but it looked cool, and you did it anyway. Let's just jump randomly. Aaron, where would your character be on a Sunday afternoon, normal life? Is there a bond that you'd be hanging out? Actually, no, you only have the one, don't you?
Just the one. So Master Sergeant Stone would be in his Class B uniform at the back of the chapel on Fort Meade, putting away chairs, trying to help out Chaplain Saunders, his only real friend, after her sermon, and then after a meeting of combat vets, a little PTSD circle for active duty combat veterans, and he's helping her clean up the back room.
And whereabouts would you say? What state are we in, or base or anything like that?
It's Fort Meade. Meade, so that's Massachusetts.
Right. So you got a long flight. So this is it's fairly late, and right about this time it's like you're talking about PTSD and everything. That was like people were discussing trauma, and your Army chaplain, she turns to you, and every now and then you probably had some conversations where she might have revealed some things that have happened to her, and everyone might just share, and you've always probably felt like there's been something she's holding back, something she hasn't quite shared, and she turns to you as you're hanging up the last of the chairs on the peg, and you can see that she's there's a little bit of water in her eyes maybe, and she starts there's something I haven't really told you before, but I think it's about time. And right then you feel your phone in your pocket just go.
Major. I mean, Annie.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. No, I understand.
Sergeant Stone.
And so it's one of those like kind of, it's a very professional voice. It's not a voice that you recognize, but you just hear like a woman's voice on the phone. And she says, Seattle, Washington, 0800. And she gives you a flight number, flight 2685 out of Mass. Be on it. You have 2 hours.
Claire, I'm sorry, Annie. I've been activated. You know the teams.
No, it's part of the job. It's part of the job. I understand. You gotta do what you gotta do. I understand. We'll talk again. We'll talk next time.
I hope I'm sorry, Annie.
It's okay.
Turns and heads back to his apartment to
grab
his go bag.
As the door closes, you kind of hear suddenly, even though you've hung up all the chairs, you hear like the rack of chairs that are hanging on the wall suddenly like slam, as if like maybe out of frustrations you just kind of punched him or pushed him in some way, and you kind of know in the back of your head that she understands, but she's also a little frustrated.
Shit.
All right, Megan, where would Dr. Raleigh be on a Sunday afternoon, October 2nd?
I am from the Pacific Northwest, so
perfect.
Absolutely. So I'm out with Charlotte. We're out walking on the beach and collecting sand dollars and just enjoying the overcasted fall evening.
Okay. It's a definitely a nice for Pacific Northwest, it's not raining heavily or anything like that, so it's a nice day. It's there's dampness as there always is in the air, but for lack of that, it's actually a fairly nice day. You can even see the sky a bit. The clouds aren't as overcast. There's kind of a nice sunset that's kind of starting to cook up here and there, and you get this phone call that starts ringing. You can feel, maybe you have a ringtone, maybe you don't, but you see Charlotte, like she's picking up, shells, she's skipping them or whatever. And you get this phone call, and it's your supervisor at the CDC. So you probably work, if you're local, like, are you local, like Seattle local, or are you local, like, okay. All right. So you get a supervisor at your, when they're saying, they say something along the lines to you, so you've been, your name came up for let's just put it this way, a situation has developed in your backyard, and your expertise, your skills, and I guess somebody out there has your name. It sounds as though there's a federal task force forming, FBI, CDC. We've already got some people who are there, but apparently the situation might be spiraling a bit, and we need you to head there. You got the rest of the night, but you're supposed to meet up tomorrow, Mill Creek, Washington, and they're going to give you a name. They're going to specifically they're going to give you two names. One of them is going to be the name. You need to meet with a consultant by the name of Agent Rex Dart, and another one by the name of Jay Ryder. They should be waiting for you. I'll forward the address to you, but to expect to be on this for a couple days, and it should go without saying, national security, top secret. Keep this on the down low, as the kids say.
Oh, Robert, stop trying to be hip. All right. Thanks for, they didn't tell you anything else. Like, they didn't go into detail about, service records and so forth, right? They just want.
I don't have any more information. One of the agents will brief you on scene. I looked at the address. It's suburban, outside Seattle, about an hour or so. Don't go there tonight. Wait for the briefing, and we'll go from there.
Oh, well, thanks, Robert. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Okay, keep your head on straight, and then hangs on the phone.
as soon as it goes off, I bring it out and I text Ronald, my therapist.
Okay. All right.
Ronald,
Those are the wrong time, by the way. 9 a.m. would be your time. So you get Ronald on the phone. You hear in the background like he's got his family. Like, we're sitting down for Sunday dinner.
no, just 2 seconds.
We've talked about boundaries. Okay, we've talked about boundaries before. Okay, this is an important thing. Everyone has to have them.
They want me to be on this national task force. What do I do? They want me to show up tomorrow morning. There's all these agents. They'll know, Ronald.
Okay. We talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about breathing. Just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. You need to focus. Everything's going to be fine. You've trained for this. You've got the education. Okay, you're going to be fine. It's a task force, which means there's plenty of people and they're all doing the job, not just you. It's not all on your shoulders. I can speak.
All right. I'm going to text you when I get there.
That's really not necessary.
Even if you don't answer, it'll just make me feel better knowing that you know where I am.
Right. Honey, one second. It's one of my patients. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Sure. Go ahead and just, text the office. Go ahead and do that.
Barbara doesn't like me. Very well.
Okay. Have a good night. And then he hangs up the phone very quickly. Beautiful. Evan, what would Ryder be doing on a Sunday afternoon Sunday afternoon in October 2nd?
Yeah, I think he's, ever since he got some repercussions and whiplash from his last undercover mission, he's kind of been doing one of those traveling the 50 states on his big Harley. And so he's in Area 51, of course, because he's a conspiracy theorist. He's, has these binoculars looking out at the campsite. You can see he has like a big backpack with like some satellite antenna. He has a laptop propped up on his motorcycle that's like, some random alien like sights, like it's like sights, yeah. Alien scene here. And he's just kind of like looking at it as he's probably like smoking a cigarette and just like going through it and like nodding, agreeing. You probably see like maybe a little tinfoil hat somewhere in his backpack kind of sticking out.
And so you as you're looking around, like maybe you like look on the horizon a bit as the sky is getting dark and you start noticing like these far off lights. Like they might be like a distant, like small airport lights, kind of directing people. They could be radio lights, but you start watching them over and over because the pattern just doesn't seem random at a certain point. You just start noticing that it almost feels like Morse code when you start almost obsessing, thinking like, what's being said to me? What's the message here? Maybe you start you whip your phone out to go and you realize you have a text message that maybe it came just now. You're not really sure, but you open it up and it says you have a dental appointment, 8 a.m., gives you an address to Dr. Zelena, Seattle. And then it also references a flight. It's on your own at that point. So maybe they know who you are, but you would know like dental appointment tends to be whenever you get like a confirmation of a dental appointment, that's kind of code. Basically. Yeah. So you go back to looking at these lights to kind of back and forth. Roll a SIGINT really quick.
Okay. Oh, so close.
Okay. All right. Okay. You think it says something, actually. You feel like you got, it says, you start working out the Morse code, start kind of playing around, and you realize like it says a word and it repeats it over and over again. And the word is bounce.
Kind of thinks to himself. You see, he puts it like in, like he has this folder saved on his desktop, which is like alien in stuff, and he saves it in there.
All right. And then finally, Rex Dart, what are you doing Sunday afternoon, October 16th or October 6th? I keep doing that.
That's okay. I have one, a curveball hit me while I was sitting there waiting. So I think he's in his sister's house. It's kind of dimly lit. He's in the middle of like changing diapers. He's got like boiled chicken and spinach smoothie set up to the side that's suspiciously a similar color to the diaper he just changed. And he's busy trying to like shush the baby back to sleep, and he's in the middle of like whisper fighting with his sister. Now, look, Allie, I said I would help out with Junior. I would help with the kids, whatever you need. But I'm glad you made peace with Dad. I made it very clear. The last words I had for him were to his face a long time ago.
Lou, can you put a diaper over top of his thing? It's gonna spray up. It happens all the time. Just
no, I did the fold. I thought I did the fold.
You did it. You didn't do it right. It's right there. Can you please? Okay. Listen, he's made amends. He's trying. Okay, maybe you can try a little too.
I've tried. Okay, I've put in the work.
You put in the work. We barely see you. I've barely seen you for the past. And you come in, you come out. You're barely here. You're like a part-time brother at this point.
That's fair. And I'm sorry, but it's important.
And I don't know what you said to Levi, but he won't even talk to you. He won't even like when I bring up your name and he just hangs up the phone. So I don't know what you did, but if you want to say that you've been trying, I don't know what you've been trying to do. Die alone, because you're well on that road right now.
Okay. I hear you.
So what we're going to do, you're going to finish changing his diaper. Okay.
Is that how you do the fold?
Yeah. Like little Eddie Jr. And then as she's saying that you're going to finish it, you feel your back pocket start to vibrate.
I just got the fold right and I let it go. The baby urinates on my own sister as I let it go. And she's like, oh, God,
just get out of here. Just get out of here. And she like knocks over your smoothie. It's all over on the ground now. Just get out. Just leave.
Love you.
Love you too. For now. And you pick it up, and very similar to Ryder, it's a dental appointment made in your name, 8 a.m. tomorrow. Gives you a Google map of what looks like some kind of business complex right outside of SeaTac Airport. All right. So we're flash forward then. It's 8 a.m. or nearabouts. Everyone gets on their flights. They take their various ways there. And then, yeah, I saw you there, Bert. I figured Eddie, in the name of Eddie. So one by one, everybody with the exception of Dr. Raleigh, who was sent directly to the site, directly to Mill Creek, but everybody else was sent specifically to this address. You arrive one way or the other. Some of you might have rented cars. Some of you might have just taken Uber. Some of you might have taken Lyft, whatever it might be. But it's not that far. It's maybe a 15-minute ride from SeaTac. You arrive. Some of you arrive 5 minutes early, 15, 20. It kind of depends on your flight here or there. But you get into this complex, and it's a busy complex. You can see there's a handful of other what looks like doctor's offices, business offices, things like that. It's not commercial. You don't see any like signs for like, Qdoba or like McDonald's or anything like that, but it's a business complex, offices, professionals. You go up to the second floor on the western wing of the complex, and you move over to what looks like 0616, which is like the address of this complex area. And you can see that etched into this dark door is definitely, you can't see inside. It says Dr. T.A. Zelena. And we'll say that Rutledge, you get there first. You open the door, you go inside. You can see that this very much looks like a doctor's office to you, probably something you're not entirely expecting. You can see that there's two receptionists that are sitting, a male and a female, right behind what looks like a glass retaining window. And there's like a little spot there. There's a sign-up sheet, but when you peek down at it, no one's names are listed. You look to your left over to where the waiting room is. There's no one there. What's your alertness at?
My alertness.
Yeah, one of the cool things about Delta Green is there are times where you don't even roll. If like your skill's high enough, you just get it.
50.
I love that. 50. That's high enough. You've noticed just walking through and up to this desk, you've already noticed 3 security cameras, well hidden from a hanging plant, one over top of the door on your way in, was hiding behind what looked like some kind of exterior light display, one on the inside as well. And you see these 2 people, and when you walk up to, you look around, there's no one sitting, and like the person just says, Dr. Zelena will be with you in a moment, and points towards the chairs in the waiting area.
All right. He'll stroll over, sit down, kind of look at one of the security cameras, kind of wave at it and smile.
Okay. You look down, you hear like this really strangely timed bubble come up of a water cooler nearby. No one's drinking from it. It's like 2/3 full. You see a like splayed on the table in front of you. There's all these different magazines. When you look curiously enough, like the little sticker with the address is like scraped off, so you can't tell exactly who this is sent to. And then you hear like the ding of a bell, and you see walking in is Rex Dart. You don't know who Rex Dart is, but you see another figure walk in. He looks over, sees you, goes up to the reception desk, by the way. What's your alertness at there, Rex?
Let me double check.
Should be probably pretty high, I would think. Given
It is.
your
It's 80.
Okay. Yeah. You immediately notice like you got exit lines, you know exactly ways to get out. You examine like the actual window pane, and you can realize when you go and kind of lean to say something to the reception desk, you just kind of tap it. This thing's bulletproof. Like this is a bulletproof glass kind of retaining window in this Dr. Zelena dental office. And then she says to you, Dr. Zelena will be with you in a moment. She points over towards the waiting area. You look over, you see this other guy sitting there, just kind of waving up at a camera.
And he looks over at you and he winks.
Well, thank you for making my day.
And then you're finally like, as you're sitting there for like 2, 3, 4 minutes. And finally the door opens up, calls both of your names, Mr. Dart, Mr. Rutledge. They weave you back. You're kind of walking through, it looks like a dental office. You see all these different chairs. You see like the things that you do, like the reclining chairs in. You see all these different cabinets set up. It smells like lemon and bleach everywhere. And you're eventually led into what looks like some kind of makeshift conference room where 2 people are already sitting down. One of whom looks very much like some kind of biker that's just some sort of tall, somewhat intimidating looking biker. And the other is almost, I don't know, clean shaven. And what would you say? What would Deacon be?
Yeah, he's about 5'10". He's in great shape. He's got dark brown hair and a standard military fade, and you could doesn't look like he's ever had whiskers on his face. He's so clean shaven.
Okay. There's seats everywhere. Now, Ryder, Rex, Dart, you two know the deal. You know what's happening here. You know what this is. The other 2 of you, I mean, like you've been to briefings before, but you're probably not fully into like what's actually happened. But as you sit down, seconds later, a door opens up. You see walking into the room is a woman in her sort of mid to late 40s, dark brown hair tied neatly back. You see some streaks of gray. She's got a dark pantsuit on. You can see she's carrying underneath like her like in her armpit. She's got this big old file folder. There's accordion file. Doesn't say anything to you. Just kind of does a quick scan, looks all of you really quickly as you're filing into your seats. It almost has like a kindergarten feel to it for a moment with the way she just kind of stares hawkishly down her nose at you all. And she starts passing out these file folders. I'm gonna go ahead and share something with you now. Go ahead and take a look. Oh my God, there's so many people now that are in this. So this is gonna be Matt. I'm gonna share it with you too, Megan, because you'll get a similar briefing, but there's certain details referencing an organization by the name of Delta Green that you probably wouldn't get. But most of the other stuff you would get. So she passes all this stuff out. You open it up and it's this briefing document. And you can see at the very top, it says Operation Malta. And then she drops this other fairly large file folder. I'm going to start playing a little music in the background now, if that's okay, Matt. But she drops this other file folder straight down the middle of the table. And you can see there's a stack of photographs that are kind of covered by this top secret file folder that begin to sort of spread out. And you can kind of peek them. They're within range of everybody. But she looks around and she says, all right, let's begin. I am case officer, your contact for Operation Malta. My name is Blair Palmer. You have in front of you briefing documents. We're going to review that now. Save questions for the end. She says, like, very, very, like
Ryder was about to
strictly.
raise his hand.
I was
and
gonna
puts
say
it back
Rutledge is
down.
like putting his hand down.
2 days ago, October 1st, at approximately 5:45 a.m., Seattle Times delivery driver Ernesto Torres found the body of a retired geneticist Tybalt Greaves in the driveway of Greaves' home. Torres then called the police. They arrived shortly thereafter, within 15 minutes. Were the first on the scene were officers Michael Grant and Jeffrey Daly of Mill Creek, Washington, roughly 45 minutes to an hour north of Seattle, north of where you are right now, gentlemen. They detained Torres, but they didn't arrest him. Their initial reports, upon discovering Greaves' body on the driveway, was that he'd suffered very severe wounds to his mouth, his neck, his face, and that apparently crows had been gathering around to pick away at his body. Now, they found Greaves' door to his home open, and they went inside. Inside, they found a second body that was later identified as Greaves' live-in girlfriend, Amanda Griffin, also goes by the name Amber. The officers report that Griffin's mouth was covered in blood, which had congealed into a blue-black pile, and her skin had taken on a distinct blue tinge. The officers immediately cordoned the area. The home is on that of a cul-de-sac within suburban Mill Creek. Nobody was let in or out of this cul-de-sac area for much of the day. 6:09 a.m., they called the detectives at the Mill Creek local police station, and they also called the medical examiner, who arrived approximately 25 minutes later, and they began to investigate the scene. Detective Emily Dunser was lead detective on the case, and Lewis Stubbs is the medical examiner for Snohomish County. They went inside the house. Some of their technicians took photos, the very photos that you see now in the middle of the table. You're welcome to look at them as you see fit. Around 7:09 a.m., sunrise came, and that's when officers outside, once again, Grant and Daly, called Stubbs back out to examine Greaves' body, where over the course of 8 minutes, as captured by the various time-lapse photos you see in front of you, it collapsed into a blue-black, and I'm using their language here, goo. It solidified to the consistency of hard candy and took on the smell of chlorine and honey. Process apparently left Greaves intact only with his left hand and his feet. The rest dissolved as indicated. Detective Dunser and the evidence technician photograph also took photos of what they described as small bloody footprints. You can see in images 15C, 15D, and everything from 16 to 21 have been time-stamped. Now, the size of these footprints are that of a toddler's at most, but they were also very deformed and misplaced, but there was one clear toe mark to indicate at least one of these was human. The detective, Emily Dunser, she followed those tracks throughout the house into a closet that apparently held a furnace. And within that furnace was, for lack of a better term, a secret door swinging on a hinge that led into what formerly was the garage of this suburban home. A garage which, as you can tell from the photos, no longer has exterior access, as sometime in the past, Greaves had apparently blocked in his two-car garage. Now, in this hidden room, medical examiner Stubbs recognized a series of biohazard labs, various pieces of equipment, very expensive. We're talking air scrubbers, some kind of HVAC system that maintained negative air pressure in the room. And it's at that point that Stubbs ordered everybody out, alerted the CDC, who is currently on site, with another one of your contacts who you will meet when you head up to Mill Creek, and also the FBI. The police chief, Bob Crannell, he ordered that no one be allowed to leave the scene, and they extended the cordon further outwards into the neighborhood. The CDC team currently is being led by Roberta Kane, came in from Seattle. One of our group's friendlies has also been dispatched to the scene and will be able to help with you. And she sort of flips through her pages and she looks and she tries to get kind of the name. Dr. Raleigh, Lucy Raleigh. She will be at the site when you arrive. Now, it's at this point, as the CDC arrived, that they had constructed a biohazard tent around the house, and anybody who was exposed to the house or to Greaves's body or to Griffin's body was removed to Providence Regional Medical Center in Everett, Washington, where they were tested by the CDC for every known infectious disease they were capable of testing, and then they were cleared. Neighbors Elizabeth McCready and Marty Postwaite, living on either sides of the Greaves home, were also evacuated, but they were allowed to return to their homes later that evening once tests came back clear. About an hour later, Roberta Kane was examining the lab. And this is where we come in, if it's not clear already. She collected unusual samples from a small silver sample case with biohazard markings and a stamp which reads, Bounce. And inside of this sample case are 12 vacuum-sealed packages containing a substance that she designated Unknown Biological Sample 1. You can see photographs of this case at image 27B. One package is open, and she described it, the contents, as undifferentiated cellular material with human characteristics. I can tell by your faces that you don't understand what that means. For all intents and purposes, you can think of this as something akin to stem cells. Now, Kane is a friendly-ish contact, alerted us, and that set Operation Malta into preparation. The CDC decided to collect these samples and various other notes from Greaves's home and fly that out to Atlanta for further study at their advanced labs. But yesterday, while you were playing with your families or your friends or doing whatever the hell it is you do on a Sunday, the CDC loaded the Unknown Biological Sample 1 onto CDC Flight 191 Secure, a small plane with a crew of 2 that was due in 11 hours to reach Atlanta after stopping briefly in St. Louis to refuel. But the Butte, Montana Air Control lost contact with this flight after a moment of what was described as garbled radio. There was no report of malfunction. These were both very experienced pilots. The transponder placed the Flight 191 in Clearwater National Forest in Idaho. And about an hour and a half later, at 11:22 a.m., search and rescue flights spotted smoke, and they located the wreckage of Flight 191. The CDC has instructed rescuers to stay away from the wreckage until such time as it is cleared by us. And now we come to today. You all are here. Operation Malta has begun. Your mission directive is as follows. For those of you, this is your first rodeo. Welcome to the party. The rest of you, you know the drill. You're to identify and contain any unnatural, unknown threats, prevent further spread of these threats, and also prevent public awareness of these threats. Currently, I can tell you that not only did the FBI and the CDC arrive at the scene, but several local newspapers, several local news radio stations, and there are more than one morning television, including Hello Seattle or some shit, that is currently interviewing the Seattle Times newspaper delivery guy, Ernesto Torres, about what he found. This is not acceptable. Do you have questions? Now is when you can raise your hands, gentlemen.
Case Officer Palmer, I have one pertinent question. I'm just an old soldier, so I need some clarification on phrases that you use, such as our group and friendly. What is our group? And why am I here to be a part of it?
What is your specialty, Stone?
Infiltration, extraction, and human intelligence collection.
You are here to perform human intelligence collection. As for our group, you don't need to know that.
Yes, ma'am. Army sent me here. I'll follow orders.
That's what I like to hear. Are there any other questions? She's like looking, like peering into your souls, like just waiting for you to ask a question.
So are we going to Montana or what's happening here?
It would not be a bad idea to visit eventually, but right now, time sensitivity might more take you to Mill Creek, where the press has gotten wind of what is going on at the Greaves location. It's best if you clear that site out first, learn what you can. Once you've exhausted what you can collect from Mill Creek, you can extend your investigation into Clearwater.
You know, I just want to add, I don't think anyone's going to believe me when I say this, but I was at Area 51 just yesterday, and aliens, they Morse coded bounce to me. It's kind of weird, right? Kind of weird.
Oh no, far from it. I believe you.
Okay, all right, just making sure. I thought it was kind of weird, but you know.
Are you finished?
Yeah, just want to let you know that I knew bounce.
You know bounce. Well, I'm overjoyed. And you got any questions? She looks over at like Rex Dart at that point, who was talking in the conversation.
I mean, you know what I always ask. Can I get maybe like a morning shirt polo so I could do some social engineering and blend in?
She looks like, your name is Rex Dart. She's kind of, do I have the wrong file here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It's a 45-minute drive if you go quickly. Take the 405 to the 527. Get up there as quickly as possible. Make contact with Dr. Lucy Raleigh. She should be on site. Good luck, gentlemen.
Ma'am, what is our con ops? How do we communicate with you in the event that we need clarification?
In the file, there is a phone number. You may leave either a voicemail or a text message at that, and someone will be back to you quickly.
One last question, ma'am. Who is our team lead on site?
Team lead on site. She looks around and she kind of exhausts. She kind of looks over. There are two people at this table who actually have operational experience. And she looks over at the two of them. It pains me, as much as it pains me to say this, Stone. Should you have any confusion about what steps to take, Agents Dart and Ryder should be consulted.
He looks over at him. He's like, he looks at Dart. He's like,